Movement speed is often one of the most overlooked things. If you really think about it, movement speed is fundamental to almost everything in one way or another. One static value or dynamic value can change the outcome of whatever you're wanting to do. There are many things that determine movement speed. This is more focused on the basics to understand more of what it is rather than how you change it. For this demonstration, I just made a class with absolutely nothing on it. Obviously, that's going to change the values. This was the best way to kind of get a baseline. Your controls may be different from mine. W is forward for me, S is backwards, A is to the left, and D is to the right. Shift for sprint. In the middle of the screen, there's a value for crouch. 1 means I'm crouched, and 0 means I'm standing up. I have control for my crouch. In the upper left-hand corner, under part of my username, there will be a value that shows my speed. You'll see how this value changes depending on what I press and what direction I'm moving in. So since this is more focused on the basic concept of movement speed in general, I'm going to keep it quite simple. I'm going to show you how movement speed changes based on what you press. So we'll start with walking, WASD. Pressing W, you'll see that it tops out at around 312. Pressing S, you'll see that it tops out at around 250. Pressing A, you'll see that it tops out around 297. Pressing D, you'll see that it tops out at around 297. So how does this change when you're sprinting? So holding sprint and going backwards, the movement tops out at 250 or around 250. Going left, pressing A, it tops out at 296. Pressing D, it tops out at around 296. Now pressing W, you'll see that pressing W immediately gives you a set value that's over 400, and as you hold it, it'll continuously grow and then max out at around 561. How do these speeds change when crouched? Holding crouch and pressing S, the speed tops out at around 211. Holding crouch and going left by pressing A, the speed tops out around 251. Holding crouch and pressing D to go right, the speed tops out around 251 or 250. Holding crouch and pressing W to go forward tops out at around 264. Pretty much all of these are static values that don't really change that much, except for when you're holding sprint and pressing W to go forward. So there is no sprinting backwards, and there's no sprinting left, and there's no sprinting right. It should be noted that holding keys that oppose each other will cancel each other out. Like if you hold W and S at the same time, you won't move. Or if you hold A and D at the same time, you won't move. Also, when you're at a walking speed and you hold A, the base speed is 296. If you hold A and S at the same time, or even on the other side, the speed will pretty much be exactly the same. But since the speed is different while crouched, holding A while crouched will give a speed of 251. Holding S while crouched will give a speed of 211. If you hold A and S at the same time, it will have the speed of moving backwards, not to the side. Also, when you're moving forward or walking forward, and then you tap or press A, if you hold W and D at the same time, the speed will pretty much be unchanged while walking. But if you're sprinting forward and you press D and you hold it at the same time, it'll maintain the speed. But if you do any rapid clicking back and forth, like if you hold W, bring it up to its max, and then press A and D over and over again, it has to reset every single time. So there will be a drastic slowdown every single time if you were to spam A and D. Also, mouse movement will affect speed going forwards. If I'm sprinting forward and then I do a sudden 180, I'll lose all of my speed. So when you want to turn around, you want your cursor movement to be very gradual. Any kind of sharp turn, you'll lose your speed.